The Central Club.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Reinspire Printing and Boss Security. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the club, and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. We're still in Kingston. We're still in Hope Cottage. And we've got another great guest for you today. I'm not going to bother with any introductions. I warmly welcome Mr. Dapper Laughs.
How you doing, mate?
That was better.
Yeah.
How are you?
Seventh take, though. Fuck you.
Don't take the
joking. No, really good, mate. Thank you. And how nice to be sat in this house, considering what you do in this house and what your guy does here.
Yeah. I'll just probably give a little backstory for the people, because I said to my missus and to Harrison, I said, I don't think Dapper's going to come out of this gaff. Obviously, with your sobriety you're going through, which is, mate, amazing, fantastic, like really proud of you. But basically, this is my uncle's house. He's been here for years. He was an alcoholic, and when he got through that, I think he'd done the 10 steps through like AA and stuff. And he's had loads of sponsors, and he's extended the house now. And I think he's got 6 residents in here now who are also going through their journey as well. I think the name Hope Cottage as well is a perfect name for that, you know?
I would have known anyway. I would have been able to tell with the amount of fucking board games in here, because you go sober is the boringest thing you can do with your life, isn't it? It's either board games or porn. The place will be covered with it.
Just to another addiction, one addiction to the other, like, innit?
Yeah.
No, mate. Do you know what? When I came in here, I was like, fucking hell, is this the setup? Is this what we're going to look like? But Clara was like, no, it's lovely. It's really nice, actually.
Yeah.
I like it. So, how are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm all over the place as a person normally anyway. I kind of live in a state, I've got ADHD, so I live in a state of kind of like fucking madness. Do you know what I mean? From the moment I wake up, I'm like, what's going on? But I'm good. In general, I'm good, man. I've got a lot of stress, a lot of work on, but it's positive stress. Do you know what I mean? I have to keep reminding myself all the time that this is positive stress, you know, when things get too much or whatever. But I'm good, man. I'm 6 months sober. So, yeah, that feels good. I feel like I've got to the point now where I can stop fucking going on about it. Do you know what I mean? Because for anyone out there that's gone sober, you know, you have to fucking live and breathe it to do it. So I feel like now I'm 6 months, so maybe I can just mingle back into sort of obscurity when it comes to drink and drugs.
You get those things. You can get those key rings where it's like every year or every, my second year in recovery. You know, that you just leave it to the years now. Maybe stop the days.
The thing that pisses me off about counting the days and having like fucking 3 months, 6 months is you want to celebrate.
Yeah.
Go on, let's
what
go.
am I going to do to celebrate it? Like,
yeah, do you know what I mean? It's the worst thing anyone could have come up with, counting down, celebrating 6 months. That's the one thing I can't do no more, fucking celebrate. No, but no, it's good, mate. It's good. But I think you run the risk of, when you go sober, you run the risk of fucking doing everyone's head in by banging the sobriety drum, which I am doing. But I think the reason why we do that is because life becomes so much better, so much more beautiful when you realise, fucking hell, I wish I'd done this sooner. And like all the massive headaches that I've had in life, you know, arguments with my missus, fucking up work things, embarrassing myself, just being a twat, getting in trouble, all of that stuff. When it all stops and you have the clarity, you want to share that.
I think the only people who get wound up or pissed off about you celebrating your sobriety, though, are the people who are stuck in it still. Yeah. Oh, shut up. I don't want to hear that. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, my mates are like that. It's like holding a mirror up, you know, and my mates don't like mirrors held up to them unless they're covered in cocaine. So, but it is. It's like holding a mirror up, you know, to some people when you're talking about it. So it can affect relationships. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that I don't really see or talk to anymore now I'm sober. Which is a shame.
Are you saying not through hating people, but not associating yourself with those people again?
Well, no, the only thing I ever had in common with them was going down the pub or sniffing gear on a weekend. You know,
they're not your mates, then, are they?
No,
and I know that hurts to say that. Like, it kills.
Yeah, I had to. It's like a breakup, man. I cried on my podcast a little while ago, talking about it. And that's another thing with sobriety. Your
emotions about.
Yeah, people take the piss out of me online. They call me like Dapper Cries now. All these fucking twats. all these people. Dapper Laughs. All I do is see him crying. But it's true. Your emotions come flooding back because obviously we drink and use drugs as a coping mechanism when things get tough or whatever. And what we don't realise is even when I wasn't drinking or anything, you know, the after effects of alcohol are so long. So when I was hungover, everything's still suppressed. You're numb to whatever. And that clarity can really bring, you can feel your emotions. They're not right at the simmering at the surface. So yeah, it's sad, but and going sober, if like me, you really mean it and it's an end of an era, then yeah, there's like, what's the word I'm looking for? There's like you mourn your old life, you know. I miss going down the pub. I miss doing drugs. I miss drinking. I miss my old life. Do you know what I mean? I miss my old social circles and stuff. So you have to go through that phase.
Yeah, of course. I'm assuming, I would like to think that the boys who probably you have separated from are happy for you. I know you're going to get people who are jealous and envious.
No, we still talk, but it's just like, that's, what
are we going to talk about?
Yeah, like, what people don't realize, and what I realize now is, when I wasn't drinking, even though I was getting on, I was a family man, I was still, and I never drank every day. I wasn't alcohol or drug dependent. I was just massive sessions at the weekend. But I was wishing my life away. When I was sober during the week, I was looking forward to the weekend, and I didn't want to be at home with my kids. I wanted to be at the pub because I thought that's my time to relax. I wanted to, everything I wanted to do was around drinking, but I didn't know it at the time. I wanted to have meetings late in London. Do you know what I mean? So I could drink. I wanted to be at a party. I wanted my session at the weekend because I deserved it. I've earned it. I need to release. I need to escape. And the people, some of my groups of friends were just associated with that. So when I stopped doing that, I'm like, I'm not going to go and sit down the pub and talk to these people about the same shit while they're drinking and using drugs. I'm like, I want to be at home now. I'm not drinking. I want to be at home with my kids. I don't want to be out.
Yeah, I did see in an interview you done, I think it was with James, and you was talking about how, you was that close from, fucking up your family life. And you even said in there, I still might be in a doghouse. Like, I'm not too sure yet, but...
No, I did fuck it up. I wasn't that close. I did. I completely fucked it up. I had been for years. Yeah.
And how is it now? Is it still...
My relationship with my wife now is amazing. I mean, me and my wife have a great laugh. Do you know what I mean? We're shagging properly again.
Oh, that's good then.
So that's always... But that's when things are good, is when your wife, I joke, but when your wife puts it on you a little bit, do you know what I mean? Because I lost weight from the drinking as well, and I'm doing a bit of boxing. Good, man. So when I take my shirt off and that, she has a double take, whereas before, do you know what I mean? Whereas before, it's like that old saying, whereas before, if you got a bit of weight on from the beer, and she'd be like, oh, you're all cuddly. But as soon as you have an argument, she's like, you fat cunt. Yeah. But no, like, jokes aside, I mean, any lads out there that are listening to this, the mad thing is that we go out and drink and that, and we don't realise that the missus is at home with the kids or whatever, and they're just, generally you're just pissing them off because they can tell that you don't want to be there, that you'd rather be out with your friends.
Yeah, they're waiting on you constantly.
Yeah, they're waiting on you constantly, and then you're aggy because you're hungover and stuff like that. We were living in a constant state of just tension. We haven't argued in months. We haven't argued.
Yeah,
I mean, the first few months where I was going sober, she was very much like, because I tried it before, and she's like, I don't know. But now she's just like, everything's calm. It's nice. We're very playful. So we've got a great relationship now, and my kids are happy, and that's really all that matters.
That's amazing. And I think she'll know it in her heart of hearts that this is, you mean it this time. Because I think as addicts, what we like to do is I sometimes I hate saying that word,
but everyone's addicts. We just have different addictions.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone, the people watching this are addicts. They're just addicted to different things.
They're addicted to the Central Club right now. They cannot take their eyes off it.
Subscribe. Make sure that you don't miss out. You need it.
No, what I'm trying to say is when when you don't mean it, you try your best to prove them that you are clean. But when you know it in your heart, you don't even need to prove to them. They know. That's what I get. Like, I remember I used to do everything. I used to cut the grass. My mum and dad said, I'm like, I'm clean. Like, I was flat out. They just knew I was flat out. Like, you try and do things to keep people happy, and they know. But when you are genuinely on the right path and you're living your life drug-free, they just know that stuff, so.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I find the key to all of this stuff with me and my missus is I talk to her about my triggers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like last night I went and done a gig. I'm rehearsing for my stand-up comedy tour, so I'm testing material and going and doing gigs. And I saw a couple of my pals before that I hadn't seen in ages. I probably hadn't seen since my wedding. I hadn't seen since I've been sober. And I saw them in a pub. I nipped into the pub to see them, and I sat with them for a few minutes. And they were drinking, and they were talking about, someone was like, whatever. They were talking about all their stuff. And I felt it. I felt the anxiety. I was questioning myself, and I come out, and the first thing I done was rang my wife, and I was just like, "Oh, I got anxiety. That was hard work. I think I'm a bit triggered. I'm uptown, and I want to drink." And I was nervous about doing my gig as well. And I normally drink before I do my gig. And then when I came off, I wasn't happy with my performance. It was tough. It was a tough night, stand-up wise. And when I come out, I wanted to drink. So I spent all last night just wanting to drink and use. And not use so much, because I'd only really get the craving for getting on the fucking bag when I was drunk.
I think I want to talk about that in a bit, about that cocaine.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of work on that recently as well, of how fucking powerful it is. The male suicide rate due to cocaine, which is alcohol and cocaine.
That's interesting.
We will go to that, definitely. And there's the one thing I want to talk about is that anxiety, because you spoke about, I've got ADHD. I've got severe OCD as well, by the way. I'm not a clean freak by any stretch of the imagination. But I like tap things and walk around lampposts and shit and all that. So, yeah.
Does he? Your missus is like, come back in the house.
You got the fucking Ring doorbell in it, and she just watches me touch every fucking part of the door like just a weirdo.
Yeah.
But I use drugs to suppress that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And when you get out, when you come off the drugs, like right now, my OCD is at the worst it's ever been. But instead of using the drugs, which I know would make me in a worse situation, I kind of try and face that head on by talking and other things. But anxieties are coming from your ADHD as well, though, mate. Don't think that's you sweating up. There's a part of that, but you've got to think to yourself as well, this is my mental health anyway, this is normal.
I got diagnosed with ADHD while I was trying to get sober, and it was probably the worst thing I could have done, because I had all these, like, suddenly I thought I had a disability as well.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't get a card or nothing. You can't get no closer to the supermarket.
I'm ADHD.
It's a fucker,
Walking out of the disabled car park. I got ADHD.
But the funny thing, not the funny thing, but the thing is with the ADHD is I learned so much, right? So I thought that everyone thought the same way as me. I thought everyone had trouble focusing. I thought everyone woke up in the morning and their mind was going a million miles an hour, and they had to focus on what. I didn't realize that normally, like, for instance, I literally, like, she said when she done the fucking online
with the highest score
online thing, like going through, you have first of all you have like an hour's meeting, and they decide whether you should proceed to do like a full blown ADHD analysis thing, right? And in the hours meeting that I done on the Zoom call with her, I was shooting a film, and I was in a hotel room in the evening doing it. And at the end of it, she said, "Well, look, from the questions I've asked you, yes, you've definitely got ADHD, but from visually watching you, it's really bad." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, for instance, while we were doing the face to face, you brushed your teeth." You know what I mean? You unpacked your suitcase. Like I moved from like lying on the bed to sitting up. I was multitasking. I was doing everything. I was writing. She made a list of everything I was doing. She said, "You were writing, you brushed your teeth, you unpacked your suitcase, everything." It is impossible for me to sit down and focus on something unless I'm interested in it. That's what ADHD is. So like now I'm really interested in what we're talking about. So it's fine.
You start standing up and all hands speak, reaching over to the mic.
But it's like that. But that's why it's murder for me and my missus, because if I'm not interested in what she's talking about, I'm fucking off. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing.
But they take that personal.
Yeah, they do. She asked me to clean the house, and I'm like, all right, I'll start doing bits and bobs of it. But then she'll find me doing something else, and she'll get the ump. I'm like, I'm fucking disabled. Do you know what I mean? Leave me alone. But
class.
But what I learned about ADHD is that it's, I think something mad like 80% of people that have ADHD suffer with addiction problems, because the noise that's in our head is suppressed by stimulants. So when you've got ADHD, so the Ritalin and stuff that they give to people with ADHD is essentially like speed. It's like speed, right? So it's like fucking cocaine. So when I take cocaine, it's very different from the average person when they take cocaine. I mean, I do still chat a lot of shit and arm tapping and fucking make up stories about fights I ain't never had and shit like that. But it calms me, really. It soothes me. And the same with alcohol, it soothes me. So last night when I was getting triggered, when the anxiety was coming in from the ADHD and not being able to get my soothing, which I'd normally get from the alcohol, whatever, that's the addiction. I can feel the addiction there, and I've got to see them as triggers now. That's the key to my mindset with what I'm doing. I don't see that as I need drink or I need drugs. I don't see that anymore, that I'm missing out on something. I see that as a trigger. So I'm like, oh, I'm getting triggered. Not I need drugs or I need drink or I need to release. I need to relax. I need to get wasted, because that was my thing. I need to get fucked up. And that's how I know that my thinking, a lot of men out there, sorry, I'm going on now, but a lot of men out there will women as well probably, will have the same mentality. I don't know if women have the same mentality because I've only dealt with mine, but how I know I had a problem is I never wanted to just drink. You know, for me, like sitting in a beer garden, the idea of having a couple of beers in a beer garden's nice, but really what I was thinking is I can't wait to get fucked up. And that's where I think if you have that same thing inside you, then you've got problems, man. And you're trying to cope with your problems. So.
Yeah, I remember my dad used to say to me all the time when I first started smoking weed. I started on weed like most other people did, and all my boys used to smoke weed. But when it came to me, he was really against it. He must have knew with my ADHD and all these other fucking things I had. But I was like, the percentage of people who get bad side effects from cannabis, whether it's psychosis, paranoia, or whatever, is like 0.1%. But he used to say, but yeah, Cole, you are that 0.1%. And that's what we are. Yeah, we are that 0.1%. And he's right, because people like us, we can't just have a little thing. We go all out.
Yeah.
You know, most... That's how it is, I think, anyway. Do you know what it was for myself? And most people I see are those type of people who, you know, they just can't take or leave anything.
It's interesting that you talk about your father, because the work that I'm doing at the moment, I've got a mental health group called Men and Their Emotions. I've got like 35,000 lads in there at the moment. It's on Facebook if anyone wants to join us. Men and Their Emotions. And men can post anonymously what they're going through, and lads can just chip in. It's a way for men to talk in a safe space, digital space that's just online. That and the podcast, the work I'm doing is for men, right? Because I can relate to what they're going through. But what you just said about your father is quite interesting, because I've been speaking to this guy, Dan that works for me, one of my moderators, and I've been thinking really what we need to do is we need to teach men how to be fathers. Not teach men, I mean, that sounds condescending.
I've heard you say something
but teach men how to, because I'm fucking terrified now about drinking drugs for my kids. I mean, I want them to come to an age where, look, if they want to experiment and whatever. But the truth of the matter is now, after everything I've been through and coming out the other end of it, it's fucking terrifying to me, man.
Yeah,
like
what you got to do, which my dad did, you can't block them from doing these things. If someone says don't walk on the grass, I'm going to walk on the grass.
Yeah, but I think what would be intelligent would be to educate other men or fathers the way that I feel like I've been educated over the last 6 months, to say, look, this stuff, you know, go out and do what you want to do, but this stuff, you know, because I never knew that alcohol was addictive. I never knew that alcohol gave you intense anxiety. I mean, for every 1 pint that you have of beer, you have a level, and you won't be able to feel the anxiety because you're drunk. So every 1 pint of beer you have, it's like a pendulum. You swing that way having a drink, and it swings back that way, you're having a bit of anxiety. The more you drink, the more anxiety you've got. If your anxiety that you're inducing yourself in outweighs how much you've drunk, so if you start sobering up while you've still got the anxiety.
So would you say hangovers are a kind of where, you know, when people feel like shit, they feel like they've got anxiety?
But listen, it's fact. It's facts that if you drink, that your anxiety levels and your, like, if you imagine that we live at a base level like that, right? And when you drink and you do drugs, your base level of how you're meant to operate as a fucking human body, your base level drops, right? Your mind's going, what the fuck is wrong here? It's a computer, right? You're like a machine. The mind's going, something's wrong here. There's a threat out there. What's right? Something's not right. That's the anxiety. You're going, fucking hell. But you can't work out what it is. So what you start focusing on is your personal problems. That's your depression. So your mind starts looking for things like, oh, my missus don't like me. Oh, I'm not earning enough money. But you don't realise this because you're just out on a Friday and a Saturday night drinking. You don't realise for the rest of the week that you're going to be living in a state of fucking fear because your body is asking you, what the fuck is wrong? You're putting poison into me. So if you multiply that by a session at the weekend like I was having, and then maybe a session midweek, then you are living constantly in a state of anxiety and depression. And I was saying to everyone, I've got mental health issues. I was going to the doctors. I'm upset. I'm depressed. I'm suicidal. As soon as I sobered up, I was like, fucking hell, man.
I'm actually all right.
All right.
And this is probably, I used to be against doctors all the time. So I used to go to a doctor's for like my mental health, and they go, we can't tackle your problem. They never help me. We can't tackle your problem until you've tackled your addiction. And I say, that's bullshit. But now I understand it.
Yeah, the only thing the doctor's ever done for me was make a note of how much I was drinking and fuck me for getting fucking life insurance. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, thanks, doc. I even rang the doc up and I was like, I was only joking about 20 pints a week. I think it was more like 2. And they were like, we can't change it. I'm like, fuck. Do you know what I mean? So be careful. Be careful.
I think it's a good probably time to interject the cocaine then as well, because we know cocaine is a stimulant and it does make you fucking paranoid very, very much. So if you've got that involved with the alcohol as well, which is a big, big percentage of people. I think the worrying thing about the society we live in is everything is promoted these days. Everything, drinking has always been normalized. When we grew up, for these kids, I worry, like rappers, Wu-Tang, these type of people, they would promote drug dealing. They were hustlers. These rappers now are talking about popping pills, drinking lean, sniffing coke. It's everywhere. Everyone's on it, I think that is the biggest problem, is the cocaine and the alcohol together. That's what, in my eyes. A lot of people I see who've got a problem with cocaine, though, they have to stop the alcohol. They wouldn't want a bag if they weren't drinking. They come hand in hand, I think.
That was my problem. I wouldn't use cocaine every time I drank because I thought to myself, I'm not a cokehead. Right, so I'm not a cokehead. I don't want to use coke.
What would you define as a cokehead, though? How do you know?
The thing is, I was a cokehead because I was using it once a week.
But what in your head did you think?
Daily.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I thought. See, this is what I've learned, and you have to lose your ego through this journey. That's the major thing. You have to lose your ego. Is I thought that a cocaine addict was someone that was waking up and wanted cocaine, or an alcoholic, or someone with an alcohol addiction was someone that was waking up and wanted to drink first thing in the morning, shaking. But it ain't.
No.
It's an habitual habit. If you can't get to the weekend and pass through the weekend without drinking and using drugs, then you've got an addiction. It doesn't matter if it's not daily. And I tell you, when you know you've got an addiction is when you try and stop it and you struggle. And if it affects you if it affects your life in a negative way and you still can't stop it, I was losing my missus and fucking everything was crumbling around me, but yet I still found it difficult to stop. That's an addiction.
Can I ask you a quick question before you go on to that?
If you can get in, mate, because I ain't going to fucking stop.
No,
joking.
If you took your Ritalin.
It's the cocaine. No, joking.
What do you know about Wales' #1 rated security provider, Boss Security? Boss Security Limited are a professional security service provider based in South Wales but servicing clients on a national scale. With over 10 years of experience in the security industry, they are true experts in all aspects of security, from CCTV monitoring, manned guards, mobile patrols, and alarm response. They provide the most advanced technology on the market, along with an expert team of staff delivering complete security solution to their clients throughout the UK.
No, when you did stop the alcohol, did you stop it straight away? Because they do advise, I know you're saying you weren't physically dependent, but still, if you're drinking every day or whenever, it can be quite dangerous to...
Yeah, no, mate,
it wasn't that at all.
So look, it's weird because I had no problem stopping drinking, until the weekend rolled up.
So it's a social thing, but it's the mix of the cocaine, the alcohol.
Do you know, it's the lifestyle. It's the lifestyle, even though maybe it was once a month that my drinking and drug use became a problem. Because there'd been rows and arguments. Yeah. Even though it was only once a month, it was an issue. It was still a fucking major issue because I was doing it every weekend and I couldn't stop it. And look, what it boils down to is I'm a man, right? And I'm like, I'm a man. I'm a proper man. I'm a good father, right? And I was saying that to myself. You're a man. You're a good father. You're a provider because I'm making good money and I'm giving my family
That's called
money.
Justification.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm a good father. But am I a good father? Because at the weekends, I'm hungover and I'm just handing them an iPad. And do you want to go swimming? Do you want to go down the park? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm fucked on the couch. But look, it's a nice couch and it's a nice house and we've got a big TV. Am I a good father? And the horrible thing was, I started looking at myself and thinking, well, no, you ain't. And the only way that I could stop it was going, right, so when they're 16, 17 and they look back, are they going to remember me hungover or arguing with their mum because I'm drunk and aggressive? No, fuck that. I don't want them. If I stop it now, I've got a chance. I've still got a chance that they will only ever know me as a great father. And they're two girls. So from what they see in me is what they're gonna accept as acceptable out there. So that's some serious shit. So if you've got kids out there and you're finding it hard to stop drinking and using drugs, just fucking look at your kids and imagine them older, knowing what you're doing and how you're treating them and your missus and that should be enough motivation to sort your shit out. Sorry, man, I'm quite
it's quite emotional for myself to be honest, because I've got a daughter who's 10 and I have no relationship with her because of my addiction. And she's damaged, isn't she? She's a damaged child, and I hope one day, when she grows up old enough, she will be that type of person who thinks, who will take her life by the reins. You know what I mean? It don't matter about me not being there. She will take her life by the reins and be successful in some way. But that just kills me when you say stuff like that, because I know how effective addiction is with kids.
But what you need to do, my friend, because I look back on some of the things that I've done, I can only imagine your pain associated with that, because I look back on things like getting drunk at my wedding and I feel so much shame because I don't remember most of it, and stuff with my kids and arguments I've had and the way I've treated people, and I feel shame. So the shame that you must, and guilt that you must feel from must tear you apart. But those emotions that you feel associated with your daughter are all from the perspective of the things that you've done wrong, right? You need to look at it from the perspective of, you could be dead. She could be growing up and not even have the choice to repair the relationship with you, right? So her perspective on you now she might not want to have a relationship with you right now, but at least you can be an example of whatever you do wrong in life, as long as you sort your shit out and you've learned from it, it can work. So look, as long as you're an example for her now and there's still hope of something in the future, it's all about perspective, mate.
I agree.
Don't beat yourself up too much.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
it did. I've heard you speak about your daughters in many situations, which we'll talk about some others in a sec. But
that must hurt, mate. That must hurt. But again,
I've heard you talk about the crack. Was you smoking crack as well?
No, mate, no.
This is a piss take, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I just where I'm from, it's a big problem. People who sniff coke smoke crack as well. Do you get that? Some of your boys now who wash it back and that?
I mean, look, I think it's different cultures in different areas. I mean, for me, cocaine's just like, it didn't even feel like a fucking bad thing. Do you know what I mean? Cocaine was just like, look, if we're out, someone's getting it, someone, cheeky lines here and stuff like that. But to me, crack was another level. Crack for me was like, I don't know. It just, that to me was real drugs. Cocaine wasn't real drugs to me. Do you know what I mean?
That's probably the biggest problem, though, in society, that we think it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, looking back on it now, I mean, how dark cocaine took me. Yeah. I mean, but my perspective on it then, my attitude towards it then was
the other thing as well is, which I always say to people, and I take my hat off to people like yourself, because being a heroin addict, you can get on a methadone script, you can go on a Subutex script, you can get a substitute to wean you off something or keep you stable. There's nothing for cocaine.
No.
There's nothing for that psycho, that craving. There's nothing for alcohol. There's antabuse, if you want to have some antabuse to block it, but there's nothing to subside that some people do off heroin. And you've got to take your hat off for that, mate.
Well, look, listen, personally myself, I don't think it was a difficult thing for me. It was more difficult for me to stop drinking because of the social aspect of it, and the drugs sort of came occasionally. So I don't think I had a real drug problem. It was just that I couldn't say no if I was drunk. I couldn't say no if I was drunk. But just on that, that's why I've got so much respect for Kirk Norcross. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I've seen the podcast. Yeah, that's fucking unbelievable.
That's why I've got so much. Me and Kirk talk daily. I mean, he's a fucking lunatic. We both got ADHD. So my missus sometimes are like, you two still fucking chatting shit. We'd end up to, I mean, he fucking
3 in the morning voice.
Yeah, he's got birds, not birds as in girls. He breeds birds in his garage. Right, he's a nutter. I only found out about this like recently. I've known the geezer for about
pigeons, budgies, parrots.
Budgies. I've only he's a secret budgie breeder, and I only found out about this 10 years later. I said, "Why have you been fucking hiding this from me?" He goes, "I didn't think I'd be interested." I was like, "No, you'd know I wouldn't want to knock about with you." Like, do you know what I mean? He's a crank, but I've got so much respect for Kirk because I used to have binges with Kirk. Get on the gear and fucking go sugar up and all that. And Kirk was in a fucking dark place where he was 4 years, 4 or 5 grams a day of cocaine, right? He could not function without it. He couldn't leave the house without it. As soon as he left, everywhere he went, 4 or 5 grams a day. How the fuck, without any help, he managed to get himself 2-3 years sober or whatever he is now? So anyone out there that's it's unbelievable. And I used to hate people talking about sobriety and stuff like that, but it's fucking the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life.
Shout out to him for that. Fair play.
Yeah, he's an amazing man.
I want to just quickly take you back onto that again, though, which you were talking about, the social side of it. Again, I want to say, I'm going to praise you again for that, coming off alcohol. I used to say, a heroin addict, you're coming off heroin, it's not like, you can't go to christenings no more. You can't go to weddings. Not everyone around is taking heroin. It's not a social drug like alcohol is.
Yeah.
That is why it's so
hard, mate. It's so hard. And it was so hard at the beginning because I didn't believe that it was a problem because I was only drinking occasionally. But when I was drinking, I was fucking drinking hard and I loved it. And it was more important to me than once I started drinking on a night out, I'd get absolutely annihilated. And there'd come a point where I'd be like, I don't give a fuck if my missus has got the I don't give a fuck what time she says I'm going to be home. I fucking earned this. I deserve this. I want to get smashed. Everything would go out the window. And how I behaved afterwards, and the states that I used to get myself in, and I work in the public, but it was so hard. It's still so hard now. It's probably always going to be hard because there's just some environments that I can't be in. That I don't want to be in, like family do's for me. Like I've had a family do recently. It was my auntie's 60th thing, and I was there, and all my family were there, and all my cousins and everyone was drinking, and I just felt like I shouldn't be there. Like I felt like I didn't know what to do, because all my cousins were drinking and getting into it, and I just felt like I didn't feel part of it. Do you know what I mean? And in the end, I had to leave. The anxiety was too much. I had to leave, and I got upset about it. To be honest with you, on the way home, I was like, "Oh no, I'm never gonna."
Is this my life?
This is my life. I'm never gonna be able to be part of it. But
you can't look at it as
No,
like,
I know.
I'm never ever gonna.
No, I know. But the trick is that was early on, and the trick is
Yeah,
now. Instead of feeling like the way I've got to look at it is instead of feeling like I'm missing out on something, I've got to feel like I'm free of it.
Yeah.
And learn to be in them environments and enjoy them. But the truth of the matter is, unless I'm getting fucked up, I don't really enjoy them situations, and I don't really want to be there. I think I've realised I used to think that I used to love parties and love being down the pub and love going out, but it weren't. It was the drink and the drugs that I loved. So, and it's I don't know. Maybe I'm not as sociable a person I thought I was.
Do you think? Did you have any sort of thought process before coming out? Like I look at you now as like not an ambassador, but what's the word?
Mad.
Yeah, well, you are someone who's really promoting sobriety.
Yeah.
Some people say to me like, "Oh, I don't think you should have put it out there because what if you relapse? Have you ever had that worry of like, I'm going ham now, I'm going all out on this, I'm going to record my journey, or was it a defense? Was it a mechanism to stop you?
I had to. This is how I operate in life with everything I do. Is if I scream and shout about something, then I've got to do it. It's like I got a 28-date tour in January, first in 10 years, and I didn't know if I could sell that out. Do you know what I mean? It's like 20,000 tickets, fucking 28 venues across the UK. I had no idea if I could sell them out. But the only way that
how's it going?
Yeah, mate, we're nearly sold out a year in advance, right?
Brilliant.
Fucking, I'm minted, right? But jokes aside, the only way the way that I progress in life is tell everyone I'm going to do it, and then I have to make it happen, right? Not try and make it happen and then say, look, I've done it. I have to scream and shout about it. I have to put myself under
hold
pressure.
yourself accountable.
Yeah, hold myself accountable. And with the drinking, I tried to go sober last year, right? So, and the thing is, my social media is a reflection of my life, right? If you're on my Instagram, you'll know that, my family's in it, my dogs are in it, my fucking kids are in it. And I spent many years creating jokes around the sesh, man. I've got the sesh gremlin, a character. I've got all these other characters, and I've made music about the sesh, and it was all about drinking and everything like that. So I've taken my whole audience on a journey, and my life as a comedian and creating content is a reflection. My content is a reflection of what's going on in my life. That's where I get my inspiration from. It's all like observational humor, right? So I knew that the only way that I could go sober is if everything in my life became about sobriety. And the only way that I could prove to my wife and to the people around me that I was right about it was to fucking scream to the world that I've got a drink. I had a drink and a drug problem, and then get my journey out there, which was hard because my audience, they're all fucking geezers like that were like me, that are out on drinking on a session.
Yeah, there must have been a sacrifice.
And I lost a lot of followers, mate. I still do lose followers, but new people come. But the way that I see it is, I'm on my journey. This is what I'm doing. If you want to follow it, follow it. If you don't, you don't. And come back later if you want to, or don't.
I was going to say most of these geezers are probably come back.
I don't care about that. Like the people that follow me, I'm just a fucking account online, man. I don't take it personally. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not they're not my friends. I love the support I get, but I want it from people that are passionate about what I'm doing. And the truth is, I feel a responsibility to the lads out there that follow me, because I know they're me. I know that majority of the lads out there that follow me are me. They're coming to an age, late 30s, where they've spent their whole the last 10 years drinking, and most of them probably doing drugs on the social, on the casual. Now their life's kicking up a gear with kids and mortgages and stuff like that. It's starting to become a problem because they got responsibilities. And for some of us, turning our back on that is fucking hard. So my passion, or what I feel like my responsibility is to show people that it can be done.
Does it feel like a calling to you? Do you, could you ever see yourself being this person who you are right now 10 years ago?
Fuck that. No. If I saw, I'd unfollow me if I saw me online right now. Look, I don't know. I'm learning and I'm sharing. I don't want to lose sight that I'm meant to be a comedian. Do you know what I mean? That's the only risk, I don't want to lose sight that I am meant to be a comedian. My passion's
You're
comedy.
scared you might become like fucking...
Yeah, I don't want to turn into a fucking guru. Do you know what I mean? Fucking hell. But no, I don't know. Look, I think at the beginning of this year, weirdly, sobriety turns into giving back, doesn't it? Yeah. It really does. And it's because you start feeling amazing that you want to share it. But at the beginning of this year, I made a promise that I'd take my ego out of it and spend just as much time promoting and making money for myself. I wanted to split it straight in half. Half my time trying to better my life and my family's life and my career, and the other half trying to fucking help people.
Yeah, you've got to be selfish in recovery anyway. And part of that is like losing your friends and the people you hung about with anyway. But that giving back is rewarding. That could be selfish as well. Giving that out is that reward. You'll get it back. It's selfish.
Of course.
But, it's a great feeling, mate. And we need people like you. We need people to show you that it can be done.
Yeah.
Because there's people out there who there's people out there, right? I say it all the time, but there's people out there who have gone through recovery. They've been at the lowest of the low, and they lock that in a box. Their wives who they've just got married to don't even know about their past life. We need people like you to be able to wear it. Yeah, this was me. I was vulnerable. This is what happened, but look where I am now.
I guess I don't look at it like that. I only see the side of it of hopefully lads will see that they can do it. But I guess it is quite maybe a unique thing, admitting that I was doing coke and admitting that I was drinking too much.
I seen on that James English podcast you've done, and you mentioned about how, in show business, they might not. Isn't it sad that the world, which we'll talk about in a bit, but isn't it sad that the world we live in now, that someone can promote sticking tampons at their ass and have deals with Nike and Maybelline, and then you, who are vulnerable, talking about your addiction, might not be able to do the thing that you just love, which is comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a white working class male, so I'm fucked anyway in the industry.
How the tables have turned.
Yeah, right now I'm fucked in the industry. Plus, I was Dapper Laughs. You know what I mean? I was cancelled for saying stupid things, for pushing the line too far. So no one's giving me any opportunities in the commercial industry anyway. No one out there is giving me any, and they're not going to be honest with you, regardless of how much good work I do. So my view is, that was my view. I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, if I start talking about this, are people going to think I'm a junkie as well? And am I going to lose even more work or not be able to get even more work? And then I thought to myself, I'm fucked anyway. No one wants to work with me anyway. I make my own films. Do you know what I mean? And distributing myself. I create all my own revenue streams and all my own businesses through my social media. Do you know what I mean? And the views on my platforms are up there with TV anyway.
Exactly.
So fuck it. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that's a question I wanted to ask you actually? Do you think it's easier or harder to cancel someone now? Because the hard side of maybe you've got your own platforms, you've got alternate media, social media, a Rumble where you can go and promote that stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, if you are a target by the cabal or the elite or whoever's in charge of all of this, you are getting wiped out. Do you think it's easier or harder?
Well, look, listen, you can never, I mean, look, if you're getting taken off social media platforms, the only way they can take you off social media platforms is if you are you have to literally be, spreading hate and saying the wrong things. So if you get to the point where you are taken off social media platforms, then there probably is a reason for it. But getting cancelled from the industry,
TV,
cancelled from the industry. I mean, it's so dangerous if you think about what that means. What that means is that there are people deciding what you can and can't talk about, right? So there's people out there that are deciding what's acceptable for me to joke about, right? And they made a prime example out of me. I said things that people considered offensive. Not my audience either. Not the audience of my TV show, or not the audience of my stuff. Not my fans.
That's mad.
Yeah,
mad.
Not my fans. Not people that are going to watch my TV show. Not people that were at the stand-up comedy gig that got me cancelled. 60,000 people signed a petition.
Ruined their lives as well.
60,000 people signed a petition to get me cancelled and thrown off TV, and my tour stopped. 60,000 people that were never going to watch it, that weren't going to go to the gigs, that weren't interested, that didn't follow me on social media, right? They're deciding what other people can say and laugh at, right? So the problem that we've got with that is when you start pushing in all of this other stuff that's acceptable with transgenderism, with kids changing their gender, and when you start pushing all of this stuff in, and people like comedians or other people start talking about, oh, well, hold on a second, we don't like it. And they're like, right, you're cancelled. And the reason why we get cancelled is because we want to be on ITV. We want to be on BBC because that's the industry, right? Once people like me or other people get scared about voicing their opinion on things because they don't want to lose their TV show, all of this mad shit that's happening will happen because no one's got the guts to stick up and say anything because you get cancelled. So I've got a lot of respect for people that don't suck the dick and say what they want. And I talk about absolutely anything and everything that upsets me, annoys me, or winds me up. I'll talk about it, you know, like I've done a video. I was meant to be going on a certain TV show the other day to promote my tour, but I decided to do a video about Philip Schofield.
We've been watching it lately.
Yeah. And that interview got cancelled. Do you know what I mean? That because I'd done a thing about Philip Schofield. But, you know, the people I care about are my followers. I don't care about anyone else.
Exactly. I think there's a massive contradictory in that, though. How we can be, I say it all the time, how we can be so accepting of one thing, of maybe this out of landish extreme thing with like these gender, you know, these different identities and stuff, and then not be able to let you say what you believe in.
Yeah,
that's a massive contradiction.
Yeah, I mean, the problem that we've got is, like, I don't care what someone wants to identify as. I really do not care. It does not bother me where you stick your penis or if you cut it off. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, if my best mate turned around to me and said, I want you to call me Cheryl now and I'm getting a pair of tits, I'd be like, let's have a look at them. Like, I would not give a shit. Like, if you're lesbian, gay, transgender, whatever, fucking, I decide whether I like someone on how they treat me and their personality, not to what they do with their sex or their sexuality. I don't give a shit. But I care about what my kids are learning, and I care about what my kids are exposed to and when they're exposed to it. So, for instance, the LGBT stuff and all of that stuff, if my kids are going through school and, you know, people are saying to them, you know, you can experiment with your sexuality and you can experiment with your gender. No, thank you. That's up to me to talk to my kids about that stuff. So, but even saying that, do you know what the first response would be? All right, you're transgender then. You're a bigot. You've got a problem with the LGBT community. No, I haven't. I haven't. I'm worried about what... I would just like to decide what my kids are exposed to.
Exactly.
That's it.
Don't put it in our faces.
It's scary.
That's all it is. We're not judging.
The more scared you are of talking about that stuff, the less people are going to talk about it. So it's scary.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on from this because you're going to get me fucking even more cancelled.
Well, I was going to mention Jeffrey. Is it Jeffrey? Is that his name?
Oh, I've done Jeffrey Walsh.
Strange character.
No, I can't remember what his name is, but yeah, I've done pieces on him as well.
It's just like what business?
Jeffrey Marsh.
What business does but like drag queen stories and stuff like what business do they have being there? I don't like. There's probably plenty of work in the adult industry anyway.
Yeah.
The world's full of perverts.
Mate, look,
so what the fuck are you doing it with kids? Like,
but I mean that's the thing. Like I say, I don't care what you decide to do with yourself. But if you're on TikTok and you're saying, "Hi kids, if you'd like to come and talk to me privately, follow my Patreon and I can talk to you about how to go no contact with your parents." If you literally look up grooming in the dictionary, it says that what they do is they you know talk about like sexually explicit things to kids, try and create a divide to pull them away from their parents and stuff like that. So I spoke about that. That caused a lot of friction, but I mean, look, if you're offended by me talking about that sort of stuff, stop touching kids. Do you know what I mean?
I seen the thing with Loza Fox. He said his kid, he's on GB News, Loza Fox, and he said about his kid, he went to give his kid a kiss goodnight. And his kid was like, whoa. The teacher said you can't do this. And he was like about consent and stuff. This is his son, like, who's like about, I don't know, he must be under age 10. Give him a kiss goodnight, son, like, and he were like kind of pushing him away type of thing, which I think is just bizarre.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. Anyway, yeah, it's a real.
It is. It's a dangerous subject. But yeah, no. Look, a question I wanted to ask you. I seen you on GB News on the drinking pints with Nigel Farage. You actually had a pint of water. Fair play to you, mate. That must have been interesting because I would have loved to have a pint with Nigel. Yeah,
Farage. I don't know. He kind of went in on me a little bit. He didn't.
He don't hold back.
He don't hold back.
What was you expecting?
But look, I'm not scared, man, to sit with anyone.
No, of course.
And I was working with GB News. I still am working with GB News on and off, you know. But I was, and they asked me to do it, so I went on and had a chat, and I thought, yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
Well, what you said on there, which we've kind of spoke about anyway, was how time changes really quickly in comedy. Time changes in life anyway. We're always evolving. The boundaries are always being pushed.
Yeah.
And there was that famous interview you done on Newsroom going back 10 years ago when you was looking a bit more younger and handsome and your hair was a bit more of a quiff.
Yeah.
Calling
me gay? Was he calling me gay? No, yeah, go on.
Maybe I sound gay there. I don't know. How much has time changed since that interview you done 10 years ago? If you can give an example.
Wow.
In the comedy world.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, it's mad. It's crazy how much it's changed. I mean, back then, if you imagine, I mean, what I said was some of the stuff that I was saying and doing was quite bad. You know, I wouldn't do that stuff now anyway, because I've grown up, right? Do you know what I mean? So the person I was like 10, 15 years, this is what pisses me off about cancel culture, is because, you know, I can hold my hands up and go, yeah, 10 years ago I was a twat. 10 years ago I was a knobhead, mate. 10 or 15 years ago, the stuff that I found funny and the stuff that I was making videos about, I look back now and I cringe on. Yeah, I can hold my hands up and go, yeah, of course I was a twat back then. Of course I'm a father of 2 girls now, and I'm married, and I'm 10 years older and wiser. But there's people out there that go, no, you said that then, so that's you now. That what you said back then, that's what you believe. Remember when you said that? That's who you are. And that pisses me off, because it's like, but now I realise that people that bring up your past, when someone constantly brings up your past, it's because they can't handle who you've become. They won't accept who you've become. They want to keep hold of, they want to keep hold of the old you, because they're still back in that mindset.
Once a junkie, always a junkie.
Exactly.
Once a thief, always a thief.
Exactly. And what I've come to learn from it, I mean, it's even more difficult, because now the stuff that I was saying back then, I think I was reprimanded for, rightly so. I think
you was.
I think you know, I said some stupid stuff and I've done some stupid vines, and I think the level of how much I had to go through from it, losing everything. I mean, it nearly killed me. I nearly committed suicide. My father died around the same sort of time. It was the worst thing that I'd ever been through in my life, and that level of cancellation, I think, was well blown out of proportion. But I should have been told off for it. But now, moving 10 years forward, fucking hell, where that line was, I got told off.
You probably wish you was there then.
Yeah, like, mate, now, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, mate, trust me, if you want to get into comedy now, do some fucking research.
That's it. Is comedy fun anymore? Mate,
it's ruined, really. It's not ruined. I mean, to be honest with you, you just got to be more intelligent with it. I mean, you know, if you're solely depending on stuff that's offensive to be funny, like I was back then, it's not intelligent.
Yeah, but when you say to be intelligent with it, like rappers are like, certain rappers might be intelligent because they say things in code about selling drugs, but the police don't clock on. Are you on about jokes where people don't clock on with what you say?
No. What I mean is,
if it's always going to have that punchline, they're going to be offended.
No, I mean, like, look, if talking about LGBT stuff or women or people with disabilities or if that stuff, like back then, whatever I used to talk about, I used to purposely talk about it because it was controversial. That's what was getting me attention, right? But that's not very intelligent. I wasn't very. I wasn't a very intelligent. It was low hanging fruit, right? So now,
I get you.
Yeah, it's low hanging fruit, man. Like the truth of it is, if the only thing you can do is offensive stuff, then it's I like personally myself, like it's harder to write comedy around like my family, being a father, being kids. It's harder to find the comedy there, but it's so much more rewarding. It's so much better because no one can say nothing about it, and it's genuinely funny. It's relatable stuff. So I'm trying to evolve and grow as a comedian and write about. I don't want to be purposely offensive anymore. I like that's the old me. That was the cheap me. That was the lazy me. Like the new me next year doing my tour and moving forward as a comedian. I want people to see my stuff online and go, fucking hell, mate, he's brilliant. Not that was funny, but it's a bit close to the line. Or fucking hell, is he still trying to be fucking? Is he still horrible? I want people to go, you know, like I was writing a piece this morning on
family
the way.
friendly.
Yeah, not it doesn't necessarily have to be.
You don't.
No,
no,
I'm not fucking gay. No. I mean. Terry Stone. No way.
Yes, Joe.
That's perfect. We're just talking about the lines in comedy that you can cross and stuff. So you're the perfect man to. Don't get him involved in this because they won't put it out. No.
You have to sit on the chair over there. Give me a seat, babe.
That's all right.
Inside in there.
But yeah.
I should say.
But,
won't be long, Jay.
Yeah, we're almost finished up.
How long we got left,
But yeah, we'll finish up soon. But
15 minutes.
But yeah, like I was writing a piece. I was writing a piece today on the way here. You know about I just you can still do stuff that's a bit naughty and stuff. But I just want to try and do more intelligent stuff. Like I'm trying to find the funny jokes in everyday life, stuff that everyone can laugh at. You know, I want to grow my audience, and like I said, I want to be more intelligent with my comedy. Like I was trying to write a piece today about when your kids say, like my kids are constantly at this stage where it's like daddy watch, it's daddy watch. They say like daddy watch, daddy watch, daddy watch, and they're always doing something that's fucking shit. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're like daddy watch, and they're just stood on the spot like spinning or jumping on one foot. And I'm like, fucking hell, it's shit. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd be more impressed if they were like daddy watch, and rolling a joint or something. Do you know what I mean? Or or doing a Rubik's Cube or something like that. Yeah. But that comedy to me is just so much more wholesome, so much more fun than doing a joke that's offensive. So that's what I'm trying to get to.
Is it a potential where you could get back through the door if that is what it was, and the industry could recognize you for that?
I don't even know if I want to go through the door. I mean,
no?
I still like, even though I don't want to be too offensive, I still like the freedom of being able to do what I want to do. But look, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want a TV show, and I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want my films to be bought. I mean, Terry will tell you that he'd much prefer my films were bought through Netflix and stuff because he produces them. But
is he?
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, I don't know. People out there don't like me, and it's as simple as that. And, there comes a point in your life where you've got to stop worrying about that and just enjoy it and be grateful for the stuff that you have got and you are doing. And that's where I'm at. Yeah.
I want to speak to you about it because that's how I remember you. What was the Big Brother experience like in a nutshell?
Big Brother was hard, man, because you can't have a wank in there. Do you know what I mean? It's Big Brother was tough for me, man. It was, but I think it was a bit of a turning point for me because people realised I wasn't malice. I was just a twat. Do you know what I mean? I think the UK, a lot of the people that were tuned into what I was doing wrong or what the press had said I'd done wrong, really thought I was malice, like a woman hater or misogynistic and all of that stuff. And I think through that, they just realised I was a knob. Do you know what I mean? But it was tough being away from my family, but it was good. It was my first bit of work after everything that had happened, and it set me up. I managed to buy a house after it, and it was all right. But being in there was tough, not saying anything wrong. Yeah.
You've got to be careful, haven't you?
I mean, I'll tell you a funny, we'll finish on this if you like, but I'll tell you a funny story. That I was in there with Shane Lynch, and Shane, I'd shaved my beard off, and this is what it's like. You're in the Big Brother house for so long that you forget there's cameras and that, right? So you just go about, and you especially if you're drinking, you say some mad shit, and then suddenly you're like, fucking, I'm on TV. It's fucking bad. Or you'll be picking your nose like that, and you go, oh fuck yeah, and you're like, fucking, I'm on TV, or you'll be doing something and you can hear someone behind the screen go where they've got like cough and they got the can, and you realise. And I'd just shaved my beard off, and Shane come into the lounge, and he looked at me as if to say like advice. He looked at me and he was like, and I've gone, what, you got some? But he was going, have you shaved your beard off? But I thought he was saying, do you want a fucking line? And I went, you got some? And Shane went like that, and I went like that. Realised, and then we changed the subject quickly. It wasn't until I come out, I look back through all the episodes, they never clocked it. But it was moments like that where I was like, What the fuck? But
Fucking
yeah,
brilliant.
good fun, mate.
What have you got? What have you got lined up then? You've got the tour.
Yeah.
You're in Cardiff as well, aren't you, for that?
I'm in Cardiff, mate. Yeah, if they don't cancel me, they cancelled me last time I was in Cardiff. But yeah, we've got 23 dates of the UK tour. You can get them on my Instagram. Head over to Dapper Laughs, well, Dapper's Instagram. Give me a follow, and I've got my podcast, Menace to Sobriety.
Subscribe to the.
Subscribe. Maybe tag it if you can, mate.
I will. What I'll do is I'll like everything.
Brilliant.
Give you
Yeah.
some wicked TikTok clips and that to put out on
wicked,
your
man.
thing and all that.
And no, thank you very much for having me. I need a slash,
listen.
so.
Yeah, mate, honestly, thank
That
you
was
so
lovely,
much.
man. Thank
Top
you.
man, yeah?
Thank
Top
you.
man.
I feel like we need to talk more. We'll chat
We
more.
will.
Brilliant.
Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Go and follow Dapper's podcast. Go and follow him on social media. Go and buy one of his tickets if they're still available. I don't know. He's telling me it's sold out. I think he's lying. We'll see. Anyway, stay central.
The Central Club.